The Zypherian elders had spoken of it for generations. Ancient tablets carved into the Crimson Mountains told of beings who would descend from the stars when darkness threatened to consume their world. They called them the Skywalkers, prophesied saviors who wielded power beyond comprehension. Mia never believed in prophecies. As she piloted her damaged exploration vessel through the debris field surrounding the uncharted planet, all she believed in was survival. The whole breach had cost her half her oxygen reserves. Her navigation systems were fried, and her distress beacon was barely functional. When the planet's gravity well caught her ship, she didn't fight it. She aimed for the largest landmass and prayed the emergency thrusters would soften her landing enough to walk away. The crash was spectacular. Her ship carved a burning trench across purple grasslands before slamming into an outcropping of crystalline rock. Mia dragged herself from the wreckage, her suit's integrity compromised but holding. She took her first breath of alien air and found it surprisingly breathable, if a bit thin. That's when she saw them, hundreds of them, bipedal beings with scaled skin that shimmered like oil on water, standing at the edge of the crash site. They held primitive weapon spears tipped with that same crystalline rock, but they weren't advancing. They were kneeling. Okay, Mia muttered, checking her sidearm. This is new. One of them approached slowly, its movements reverent. It spoke in a melodic language she didn't understand, but her suit's translator kicked in after a moment. Double quotes. The Skywalker has come. The legends were true. The saviors have arrived. Mia blinked. I'm not. Look. I'm a survey pilot. My name is Mia. I'm human. From Earth. Do you understand? The being, she decided to think of it as male based on the deeper vocal tones, prostrated himself completely. Mia of the Skywalkers? Our world is called Zypheria. For 3 cycles, the shadow swarm has consumed our settlements, moving west from the dead lands. Our warriors fall like grass before the scythe. We are dying. Before Mia could protest, a keening wail rose from the gathered Zypherians. She turned to see a whirling black cloud on the eastern horizon, moving with unnatural speed. The shadow swarm, even from this distance, she could see it devouring everything in its path, a writhing mass of insectoid creatures that blotted out the twin suns. How long until it reaches us? She asked. Minutes, the Zypherian elder said. We brought our remaining young here, to the sacred grounds. If the Skywalker has come, it is because the great pattern demands a final stand. Mia looked at the children huddled behind the adults, at the warriors with their primitive weapons, at her ruined ship still smoking in the crater. She thought about the prophecy, about beings with power beyond comprehension, and she started to laugh. All right then, she said, popping open her ship's cargo bay. Let's see if I can live up to the hype. What the Zypherians didn't know about humans was that they were terrifyingly practical. Mia had been hauling mining supplies to the outer colonies. Her cargo bay was filled with industrial explosives, plasma cutters, and a construction mech suit designed for asteroid drilling. She emerged 5 minutes later, piloting the 12-foot mech, its industrial arms bristling with improvised weapons. She'd mounted plasma cutters to the arms, rigged the explosives to a makeshift launcher, and overclocked the power core to dangerous levels. The suit wasn't built for combat, but humans had a talent for making do. The shadow swarm hit like a living tsunami. The Zypherians screamed and raised their spears. Mia walked forward to meet it, her mech's footsteps shaking the ground. The first wave of creatures broke against her like water against stone. The plasma cutters carved through chitin and flesh with ease, superheated metal cutting through the swarm in wide arcs. When they tried to overwhelm her with numbers, she fired her explosive charges into their midst. Crystal and shrapnel from the rocks combined with her ordnance, creating deadly bouquets of destruction. But the swarm was endless. For every 100 she killed, 1,000 more poured forward. The mech's power core was overheating. Warning klaxons screamed in her ears. She was going to die here, on an alien world, fighting someone else's war. Then something unexpected happened. The Zypherians charged, not away from the battle, but into it. Their crystal and spears began to glow with an inner light, and where they struck the swarm creatures, they exploded into ash. The elder warrior fought his way to Mia's side. You showed us courage, Skywalker, he shouted over the chaos. You showed us that legends need not be perfect only present. We forgot our own power in waiting for salvation. Together, human and Zypherian fought. Mia's mechanical might combined with their mystical weapons. The battle raged for hours until finally, impossibly, the swarm began to retreat. The survivors had found something the shadow swarm hadn't encountered before. Prey that fought back with both technology and magic, desperation and hope. When it was over, Mia collapsed in her mech, every system redlined and dying. The Zypherians pulled her from the suit, and the elder held her hand as their healers worked. The prophecy spoke of beings of great power, he said softly. We thought it meant you would save us, but perhaps it meant you would show us how to save ourselves. Mia managed a weak smile. Where I come from, we have a saying, God helps those who help themselves. Though honestly, I'm not particularly godly. Perhaps not, the elder replied. But you fell from the sky when we needed you most. You fought for a people not your own. You gave us hope. What else would you call that? 3 months later, when Kevin's rescue ship finally tracked Mia's beacon, he found her living among the Zypherians, helping them retrofit human technology with their crystal and energy sources. The shadow swarm hadn't returned, but if it did, Zypheria would be ready. You know, Kevin said as they prepared for departure, Command is going to have questions about first contact protocols. Mia looked at the thriving settlement, at the children who no longer feared the eastern horizon, at the warriors who now carried both spear and plasma rifle. Let them ask, she said. Some prophecies are worth fulfilling. As their ship lifted off, the Zypherians watched their Skywalker depart, knowing that legends, like hope, sometimes fall from the sky exactly when needed, and sometimes they arrive in battered survey ships piloted by stubborn humans who refuse to let anyone die on their watch. That, perhaps, was the most human thing of all. The end.